Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another live stream / recording of Hearthstone. Today is Sunday, June the 4th, so it's probably going to be a pretty laid-back experience here. I wouldn't be really surprised if nobody is on and nobody shows up. Which is kind of a shame because finally we have gotten that update where I can play with friends, so if there were people right now wanting to play me, and going forward, as long as you can are still allowed to complete quests with friends, I could get a lot of these done a lot quicker and a lot easier. It kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't even expecting to do Hearthstone today. I guess I just hadn't been paying enough attention to it. Let's see if we've got a Tavern Brawl. No, we've already done that. So, play 30 minions that cost 2 or less. That sounds like a Murloc deck to me. Let's begin. I guess in a lot of ways, this is... I might be getting dangerously close to 500 ranked victories. Mahmood is online saying hi. Unfortunately, I am not set up to play him unless he has gone through the initial setup for the Americas login. That's something that when E3 happens, I will probably set aside some time to specifically try to go through the basic startup of playing Hearthstone for the European and Asian markets. Although, last time I tried to even log into the Asian markets on the Asian servers, it wouldn't even let me in. Why at this time you always start late? Because this is about when I wake up. I suffer from insomnia is the answer there. I usually stay awake until 4 or 5 in the morning for a US Central Time, and then sleep until past noon, till about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and there is a little bit of setup that I did. So, unless I'm specifically trying to do something and working very hard to wake up early, it just doesn't, it's not how my body naturally converts. Which is one of the reasons why being a YouTube streamer is so appealing to me, is because I never really could feel happy or feel fully awake working a 9 to 5 style job where you have to wake up early in the morning, work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For many years I had a job that was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that worked a little bit better, but being the insomnia itself just kind of moves everything around no matter what you try. So there's never any real consistency there. It's not the best for my channel, certainly, and it's not going to help with E3, because E3 is gonna have, I believe, the Microsoft press conference is the first one at noon. And so that is a slight concern that I may completely miss the Microsoft conference, but whatever. At the very least, I will be doing some coverage. If you'd asked me a couple days ago if I was doing any coverage for E3, I would have said no. I would have said, nah, there's not enough to really talk about, or not enough reason to do it. I'm still very new at streaming and realizing that people and YouTube likes to promote people who are live streaming. It certainly is reflected in the number of comments and the number of subscribers heavily. so I hadn't even thought about it. It's similar to the way I started my channel in general. Is I just started my channel one day going, you know what, why not? I'm playing video games anyways. I'm smart enough to figure out how to stream, so why don't I just do it? And so I just jumped in head first. There are a few kind of not very helpful guides on YouTube on how to be a better streamer, but for the most part it just is a case of trial and error, and that's how my channel's been the whole time, and so I'm just continuing down the trial and error thing. So this, I don't have a ton of things to do here as far as news. Of course, there was another tragedy in London, and ironically, Orwell is Steam's daily sale today. And the reason why that's ironic is because Theresa May, who's running for Prime Minister, I believe, in England, or immediately came out and said that they needed to regulate and censor the internet because of that tragedy. And this really just feeds into my fear of what is going to happen to England, is that with every tragedy, the people are going to be convinced into trading their freedoms away till they don't have any more left. So every time I play something, he's going to attack it, isn't it? I'm gonna just hold off here and try and play some more cards. But I don't want to get into that talk too much. I just, it is part of my fear. And frankly, I don't think it's a good idea to filter out the internet and drive people who intend ill will down into deeper channels of communication that can't be traced by the spy agencies. It really doesn't help them much. It just causes the average citizen to suffer. 9 days till E3, moving on. Although, whenever I see 9 days till E3, or how many ever days till E3, I'm not sure if that includes the weekends where they actually put the the weekend live streams as part of E3, because a lot of the live streams happen before the doors actually open, so it's a question as to whether they're counting till 9 days till the first stream, or are they counting 9 days until the actual doors open. E3 is such a weird conference because it's mostly set in such a way that it's there's half of the things being shown are shown by appointment only, behind closed doors, in hotel rooms, and it until this year wasn't even open to the public, and now it is open to the public, and I'm not sure what really is going to be on the show floor. Over the years, E3 has been this slowly dying conference where where getting people to actually go is is a growing struggle for the conference runners, while on top of that they're taking a decent amount of money to run the conference. But in general, more and more people are having things during the time of E3, but not actually at E3. So, just because they know everybody's going to be there. And it's even gotten to the point where you don't even need to have press conferences or meetings during E3, during the time that everybody's in Las Vegas, because live streaming and just phone conferences, phone interviews, and all of that have replaced a lot of that. Let's play this one, and then play this one, and then hope this doesn't do too damage to everybody. Job done. I made up some new chat rules in preparation for E3. I tried to keep it brief. Certain things I left out. I was thinking about just having no arguing, but I could never feel like that's a fair thing to put there. And I was thinking about putting in the threats of timeouts and bans. Just putting timeouts and bans will be handed out liberally, or something like that. And in the end, I thought I'd just try to keep it short and simple so everybody can see it. It should be visible right above the chat. Again, issues stopping me from actually making sure it's there, at least right now. So that way, if I get really, really lucky during the E3 streams and there's hundreds of people on my on the chat versus, oops, I was gonna kind of wait. Oh well. If there's a massive amount of new people in the chat, that I don't want them to be blindsided when I come out and say, you can't do this, you can do this. I figure it's, I've got to keep some kind of control there before it gets out of hand, if it ever is going to get out of hand. And I should tell the rules to people before I start making them up off the top of my head and being being inconsistent with them. I imagine that by the time E3 is done, or even in the middle of it, if there turns out to be something that is a problem, we'll see. Of course, all of that has to be balanced by just in general, YouTube chat is always really, really full of trolls and toxic people who are just there to say nasty things. Let's see. Let's moving on. Kriparian, who is a Hearthstone streamer, has been not turning any of his extra cards into dust for about 3 years. Oh, he was, until a couple days ago when he actually hit the button and dissolved all his extra cards. And he got over 600,000 dust. Now, normally you wouldn't get that much, but he did mention that for every expansion he is buying about $1,500 worth of packs, which is an amazingly large amount of money to spend on Hearthstone. In fact, it's probably the most irresponsible, ridiculous amount of money you'd spend on Hearthstone ever. And I can slightly see his reasoning for doing it, because he also is getting ad revenue back for opening the packs. I imagine, since he's big and popular, every time he opens like 50 packs, he very possibly gets $200 to $250 worth of ad revenue and subscribers and all of that. $5 a month subscriptions on Twitch, because he mostly is on Twitch. But even the fact that he had 600,000 dust kind of puts a nail in the coffin of this game if you want to have all golden versions, because you can't do it. He came out straight and said you cannot stay up with it and have all gold. He got almost all the legendaries that he plays, so there's still I would say a handful of legendaries that aren't gold, but he got almost all the ones he plays, so most of them in gold, and that left him with about, I would say, 200,000 dust. But he didn't even bother to look at the epics or the rares or the commons, and he went back and turned all the non-gold versions of his legendaries into dust, and I got him about 10,000, 10 to 20,000 dust back. But it really just goes to show that Hearthstone is too greedy. And I have done the right choice, I think, for myself to just say I don't want gold versions of cards. It's never going to happen for me. If anything, with this new update where we can now copy and paste decks and we can play friends to do all the daily quests, I only see myself spending less time playing Hearthstone, not more. Which means I will have less opportunity to earn gold, less opportunities to buy packs, less opportunities to earn dust. I suppose we are potentially in a case where I can start to approach and think about doing arena again and wasting money on arena runs, because that's exactly how it will turn out. We need a 5 and a 3. Go. I was wondering why Kriparian hadn't turned it to dust. When he clicked the button, it crashed his client, but he logged back in and it had turned everything into dust. He had so many extras. There's a couple things that I'll show in a moment that he taught me as he was dealing with his decks. Turns out that there are keywords for missing and extra that you can use to see your missing and extra cards, to make sure you have 2 of every epic, common, and legend and rare cards if you're missing any, and will show you if you have any extra cards is if you, for example, have 1 golden legendary and 1 regular legendary. We can show that right here, so it makes a little bit more sense. I'm making so much progress. I'm going to be done with 2 quests. This extremely feels like a all cards. This feels like this is going to be just a 30-minute stream. There's so little to talk about. So if I type in missing, I can also use this by hitting space and type in legendaries or rares or anything like that. And I'm in crafting mode. So each one of these cards is considered missing because I don't have 2 of them. And so if I had 600,000 dust instead of just a small amount. Hi, Walter. Hopefully that is Walter. The screen is a little bit far away. Yeah, Walter. So if I had 600,000 dust like Creparian, I could go here and create a second one, and if I created a second one, this would no longer be labeled as missing. This one I don't even have 2. I don't even have 1 of. So on my collection of cards, after a couple years of playing this game, you can see there's a lot missing, but I am approaching a good collection of 1 of everything below legendary. The legendaries themselves are gonna kill me, but yeah, there's still a ton missing, and I don't even know if I'm gonna have any extra, and I don't want to waste dust to prove it. I'll have to check the footage to make sure Walter is showing up on the screen. I had to readjust the way the chat is captured, and it's possible that lines were getting cut off. They certainly were before. So if I just looked at all of the classic cards, which is really where I should be with missing, there's still a significant number of cards to get, but it's not as bad. Most of these are legendary classics, and the argument to get a complete collection of classics is not even making as much sense since they're now putting things in the Hall of Fame. And as far as extra cards, I have none because I turned them all to dust. And let's see, if I wanted to type in missing legendary, this should work in crafting mode, and this goes to show all the classic legendary things. Oh, I need to type extra and look at all my cards. I might have one that a lot of legendary classics, but in general even more legendaries when you have all the expansions done. And remember, every single legendary is 1600 dust to craft. So that there's really no way to get all gold. Even the best players seem to be saying that, and it's kind of even hard for an average player to have all the cards. Let's see, I'm looking at all cards now for extra, and I don't have any extras. I'm not surprised there. Alright, let's get back to playing now. We are getting a nice win streak with Murlocs, which is about to bump me up to rank 18. When Yeti comes along, we might very well just play this Murloc deck over and over again throughout the entire live streams, just to see how high in rank we could actually get. If I got really, really high, that would be nice. But the next month, I wouldn't have the time. I would want a budget to get back into that. Let's get back onto the news, since this does feel like it's only going to be a 30-minute stream at most, unless people want to play me. We can do quests now with the Hearthstone updates, Walter, so if you want to play me, I can do it right now and get the daily quest done and just be happy. Minecraft Season 2 is rumored to... no, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 is rumored to be happening. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it seems like Telltale...
Job's done.
Telltale would love to do that. The Switch paid online service has been delayed to 2018. It will cost $20 a year, and it will include a game library of old like NES games, and I'm sure they'll eventually put Super NES and other styles of games in the collection. The Hearthstone update happened. I just talked about that. We can now copy and paste decks. I didn't actually try that. That's something I'd like to actually see how that works. Let's see. I guess there's not too much you can say that wouldn't just be speculation about Nintendo delaying their online service. It seems pretty apparent that they were going to do that anyways. I didn't think. The only thing I suppose that really does is that means they're missing the Christmas season, which means people who are on the fence about buying a Switch this Christmas are not going to get any extra motivation to buy a Switch this Christmas because of the online thing. Valve Direct, in a similar kind of sentence, Valve Direct will cost $100 per game to submit a game, which is kind of where everybody figured they were going to go with it. So there's again not a real reason to be surprised there. We're still going to have to see what happens as far as everything else. Whether the new systems to stop fake games coming onto Steam's market, as they call them, that are only designed to sell trading cards. We'll see if that actually happens. And if it does, good. If it doesn't, I assume Valve will try something else. Speaking of E3, Digital Devolver has canceled its E3 Indie Picnic event because it was denied the permits to open its parking lot to the public. That sounds like something you wouldn't have really, you really wouldn't have either planned to get a permit at all, and maybe that was their plan, because they figured they were just gonna have an indie picnic in their parking lot and not tell any of the authorities about it, and the authorities got hold of it. Las Vegas in particular, I think, is pretty bad with its with permits and all of that. So, but it also kind of is a scary sight to see that Digital Devolver, a moderately big indie publisher of video games, is showing some incompetence here, that they couldn't even do their own advertisement that they were going to do their own picnic because they just weren't prepared enough. They didn't do the paperwork right. They didn't know. You would think if you were going to have an indie picnic, you would have had that scheduled for a year in advance, and you would know the location. Everything would be set. It would be ready to go. Like right now would be when I would be setting up for 2018's E3 Indie Picnic if I was running Digital Devolver. And the fact that it just fell through after they announced it shows that they didn't have all their ducks in a row. And if they don't have all of their ducks in a row about doing something as simple as a picnic, then you kind of have to wonder how much do they have set up and done the right way as far as publishing video games. I don't know how this particularly could go bad for them. My guess is you could accidentally mess up your own publishing, or they could mess it up their own account on Steam, and digital developer published games on Steam become unavailable for a short time. But that's about all I could think. Maybe there could be a lawsuit at some point because they didn't get everything straight. But it shows, so, but that's all wild speculation really. It just kind of shows that that they should do a slightly better job. And let's see, moving on, there's kind of a non-standard for PC gaming that's been announced with the X299 motherboards and the i9 graphics card CPUs, not graphics card, that use the LG 2066 connector socket. The people who are more in the know talked about it. It was announced at Computex. But the i9 CPU is kind of this bad middle step for a CPU, and it doesn't add any more PCI Express lanes, which means you can't have more video cards, more powerful video cards, or more slots for NVMe hard drives, storage devices. So instead of plugging in an SSD into like a SATA port, or you would plug it into an M2 connector, or you'd plug it into something else. I know we've gone about 30 minutes already, but I think I'm just gonna go for like a 45 to an hour long recording here. Walter says Murlocs rule, yeah, which is lol. So the i9 video cards don't add more lanes, so there's no new ability there. They don't support as fast of RAM as I would like, and they don't support anything above dual channel DDR4 RAM. So while the X299 motherboards on AMD connections might have the ability to do certain things, some motherboards will just inherently decide not to support the features because only the AMD CPUs can do 4-channel RAM, or if they will, the motherboard will support 4-channel RAM, and when you plug in an Intel i9 processor, you won't, it'll disable features. And that's the weird thing, is that there's a bunch of features that seem like they haven't added. One of the things is if you're using an NVMe cards and you want to do a RAID array, you have to do it in RAID 0, or you have to pay for an upgrade to put a thumb drive in the back of your computer to unlock RAID 10 or RAID 5, which is just ridiculous. So I think, from what I'm seeing, if you were building a CPU today, you might do a lot more research before you consider to get the i9 processors. For the price of them, you probably could just get an i7 processor and an X99 motherboard. It might be worth it to get an i7 processor that connects to an X299 motherboard, but that would be a different connector. And it probably would just cost more money for almost exactly the same thing. So I know I'm not going into full detail there, And that just kind of leaves me to talk about what I'm recording, which isn't too much, honestly. I finished Bioshock Infinite's DLC and did Burial at Sea, and boy did I not enjoy that. Burial at Sea Episode 1 ends on a cliffhanger, and then Burial at Sea Episode 2 changes everything, and so making Episode 1, Part 1 of it, just pointless. And then Episode 2 of Burial at Sea, as far as the DLC, is not fun. It's not playing a Bioshock game, really. It's instead playing kind of a stealth game that I never really wanted. I never really wanted to play in a Bioshock series. So it by far, it's the worst season pass for a game I've ever seen. You get Clash in the Clouds, which are just a bunch of horde mode challenges that are boring, and I didn't spend but an hour on them, and then I never wanted to play them again. And then you get Burial at Sea Part 1 and Burial at Sea Part 2, and it's hard to even say that they are the same DLC, because the story that connects them. And Part 2 of Burial at Sea just kind of retroactively ruins Bioshock 1 and 2. It makes it worse than even the main game, which I felt even the main game of Bioshock Infinite kind of retroactively changed and ruined Bioshock 1 and 2. And then I moved on to playing a short little really violent game called Shank from the creators of Don't Starve. They made it several years before Don't Starve, and there's just no story there, so it's only going to be about 3 hours of gameplay anyway, so I'll just go through it. But because there's no story there, all I'm doing is playing this brawler where I'm pushing a bunch of buttons to kill a bunch of enemies very bloodily, and that's kind of all that's going to happen, it seems. Hopefully it doesn't run into a point where it's just really, really difficult, otherwise I'm just going to rage quit on something that should be done in 3 hours anyways. And so that leaves me with very little to talk about. So the last stream I had so many things that I hadn't covered, as far as announcements to games, and announcements to games kind of are the lowest priority for me. And so I'll go back in here. Walter says, I'll see you later. I've got something. I've got to eat something. Okay, Walter. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming, but if I'm still online, you're welcome to hop back. If I'm not, you're welcome to look at any of my pre-recorded streams or any of the other series on my channel. Thanks for watching. I very much appreciate if a person watches even for a few seconds. Those views count. It's not the best thing for a YouTube channel, but for my young YouTube channel, even having people look at my videos for a minute or two counts as a view, and that's all I'm really focused on. So the announcements are: Everybody's Golf is a smartphone game that's in pre-launch in Japan. It looks kind of cute and interesting as a cell phone game. I could see why you would want cartoony characters playing golf as a game. There's nothing really to say about that. That in particular is not really very much useful news that I like to cover. When a game has just been announced, when all I see is a trailer video and there's no real date, it's very light on facts. And so if I had more things to put on my whiteboard, I would have easily skipped that announcement. Next game I have is New Frontier Days Founding Pioneers is coming to PC and Steam on June 7th. That's more news. At least we have an announcement. This is from what I can tell, a city/adventure game. One of these games you've probably seen on cell phones, where I play one called Adventure Town, where you're given little quests, but you are also building up your city to give you resources to build things that you might need. So often you'll farm a resource, and whatever you farm in a resource will then be used to do something, to make something more complicated. Like you'll farm wheat and you'll take it to a windmill and that'll make flour, type thing. A game like that probably doesn't work greatly on PC, because any game that is a cell phone game and wants you to come back several times a day, or at least once a day, is not going to be highly motivated to be played on PC, unless the person playing it on their PC is working in front of a desk every day and they don't mind missing weekends. The next one we have is an RPG called ZWEI 2 Plus. That's ZWEI. It's coming to the West for PC this summer. Another JRPG of a world full of JRPGs. This looked good. All these look good. I do see announcements for games that just look really, really bad. That flat 2D art that looks like it was drawn by somebody with no skill. Small games that take less than an hour to beat. Indie jam things like that. Stuff like that. It's just, they're never going to enter the general populace's mind, the zeitgeist. So there's no real reason to even talk about them. At the end of the day, even if there are some gems hidden in Steam or online, if I don't think my channel is going to be big enough to promote them and get people to actually play them. Let's see, another RPG called Lost Sphere is coming out. It's from the creators of I Am Setsuna, the studios, and it's coming out for Switch, PS4, and PC. So that one in particular, probably of the Japanese RPGs, is one that's at least going to be a lot more visible and a lot more talked about than a RPG maker RPG that just gets published to Steam. And then my last announcement of games is a game called Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which is coming out to PlayStation 4 and PC in 2018. And this is a very good looking 2D platformer / farming game, because you actually do have to grow rice, but I'm gonna lose here anyway, so we might as well just try to do as many damage to the head. But it looks very pretty, so, and it's an interesting topic. I've played a lot of games where you fight and a lot of games where you platform, but I've played very few games where you do both and grow rice. So maybe it'll be one to target. And that's it for my whiteboard. Barely a third of it would have been full if I hadn't intentionally added all of the missed announcements. And so now I am just left with whatever the last daily quest is, and I want to test out the the copy paste feature in collections and see how that works. I, instead of recording, watched Doctor Strange. Actually, I did a little bit of recording too, but I watched it on Netflix. Very surprised that game, no, that movie was on Netflix in the United States so early. It's only been, it feels like a year since it came out in theaters. What's rather shocking to me, I guess it's not really shocking, is so many people saying its praises for its special effects, but when you take out the special effects and don't look at that, it's actually a ridiculously simple story, particularly considering how I think you could probably go in some crazy realms with a character like Doctor Strange, and they sort of don't. I feel like they didn't really know how to tell a crazy story with Doctor Strange, or they didn't want to. They wanted instead to make it child friendly, and because of that, that's what it was. The special effects of the worlds bending and twisting in around themselves kind of don't stand up when somebody has seen it done better, particularly in anime, because you can just, when you're animating anything and you have the freedom to tell any story you want, you can go as crazy as you want, and I've seen a lot crazier than the Doctor Strange animation. I think they're hampered quite a bit by having to make it look somewhat realistic, and some of the things that they tried to do that were crazy seems like they didn't consult with somebody who had a lot of imagination, so instead they were just trying to do something imaginative without actually being able to be imaginative. Well, he seems like he doesn't want to kill me, so let's just keep doing this. I think I'm done with both quests.
You face Jaraxxus, Eladar Lord of the Burning Legion!
I have given some consideration to streaming every day, but if I did stream every day, it would be really short. Yeah, I only need 38 more ranked victories, and then this guy will be a golden. Which is strange, because I would have sworn 2 years ago that the mage would have gotten more ranked victories. So how does this copy and paste work now? Let's say I wanted to get rid of this. How does one... There, I think I just clicked off the chat too. How does one fix that? There we go. Here you go. So copy. Your deck has been copied. And then let's delete this deck, and then new deck. Would you like to create a new deck with the deck in your clipboard? So it's just looking at your clipboard, which means I guess Hearthstone is spying on your clipboard from now on. So that's a little bit scary that the Hearthstone is connected to the internet and looking at your clipboard. If you copy and paste any passwords, which you probably shouldn't ever do anyways, that's going to be a little bit scary. However, ignoring that security issue, this is very, very helpful. No longer am I stuck with just the 18 decks. I can copy something away, I can paste it into a text file, I can make something new. If I'm having trouble, it's a much smaller issue. In fact, I can do it right now. Let's see. So let's just open up Notepad, paste. I guess I have to copy it again. It cleared them. It cleared it. Copy, and then come to the Notepad and paste. And let's see what it actually is. There seems to be something weird in here after some pretty simple things. I see about nine cards being mentioned. And the last one is Magnicker Thermal Plug. Then it does a number, and then it does some kind of verification hash. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That doesn't make sense. Let's see. Format wild 2 times 0 target dummy. 2 times 2 Anoitron, 2 times Explosive Sheep, 2 times Mech Warper, 2 times 3 Alarm, 2 times 3 Demolisher, 2 times 3 Flying Machine. Oh, I guess it's telling me the cost of these? Is that the case? I don't understand the verification hash. Yes, it's telling me the mana of these, so it almost seems like you could modify things in such a way that you'd be able to cheat. Alright. No. This time we go to a rogue and we'll just do a custom deck, and we're only going to play these. Just keep on keeping on. Try to keep most of the cards there. Alright. That's a bunch of cheap and easy rogue cards to play. We come up to this custom rogue. Can't play this. I guess I need to play rank standard, so we'll just play casual rogue. And see, I now know we've gone about 25 minutes, and I could have broken this into 2 recordings, but frankly, I have my Hearthstone videos going way too far in the future anyways, and I'm giving some consideration to potentially just discontinuing the pre-recorded element of the streams and only live streaming it, and then letting people look at the live stream versions at the lower quality of video of the upload, instead of spending the effort to do a secondary upload. It is something I'm considering. It's not something I've decided on yet. The main factor would be that I would just want something to replace that time slot, and that would just mean more work for me. Deal 2 damage to an undamaged menu combo. We don't need to do this, so we'll do that one instead. There's, I guess, an opportunity where you could have a 9 or 10 mana snake creature, and it has an ability that says if you have 6 other poisonous creatures on the field, or if you have let's say 6 other snakes on the field, because there are enough snakes characters, and you attack the hero, they just die right then and there. So that would be one of those crazy things that I don't think they would ever actually allow us to do in Hearthstone. Come on, hit it. Interesting. Why that didn't work is beyond me.
Victory for Silver.
Like, but that would be cool to have a super poison, or just have any way to defeat your enemy quickly. This game suffers, I feel, immensely for there being no way to win quickly by some random chance or skill or planning. What you have to do, and I see it with all the pro Hearthstone players that I do occasionally watch, is you have to have a field full of just powerful creatures, doesn't matter who they really are, and fast charge creatures help too. 1 damage here, and then deal another damage here, here, and then the turn. These are, I suppose, help play rogue cards. Of course, I need to just continue playing rogue cards.
Handle it.
Now that I'm done with BioShock Infinite, I need to spend some time scheduling some videos. But after that point,
you're not that sharp.
after I'm done scheduling videos, which I may not do immediately, just out of basic laziness, I want to play Bayonetta and go ahead and get that one played, because heck, there's a chance I might want to play it again in 6 months. And then I want to move on to other games, get away from shooters. I think after I play Bayonetta in the 7 o'clock time slot, because that's Bayonet, it has to be in that late night time slot. I want to play LA Noire because I feel like that can make that argument that there's a slight connection in the artistic styles of the Art Nouveau in BioShock Infinite, although not really in Infinite as much as in BioShock 1 and 2, and the artistic styles that are in
Justice is mine.
in LA Noire. LA Noire will require me to do a little bit of censoring, but it's, I think, one scene in the entire game, which is hardly a real problem. And I am not 100% certain what I want to do to replace Borderlands. Probably I just want to see if I can play a bunch of smaller, shorter games. See if I can get 5 or 6 short games put into that time slot to help increase the number of games I get done. It wouldn't be terrible if I played a bunch of games or tried to play a bunch of games and found out that I didn't enjoy many of them, so I just spotlight a bunch. There's still plenty to go. Although, if I am gonna buy 4 monitors, that's pretty much my entire summer games budget right there, and I think I am. The monitor I'm borrowing right now is giving me problems, and the idea of having different monitors of different sizes is not amazingly appealing. It would be nice if they all had the same bezel and the same design and same company and the same everything. It'd be nice if one remote potentially could turn on one and turn on all 4 of them at the same time.
What you looking at?
It's time for a little blood.
So, and then I'm thinking about how I'm going to arrange the 4 monitors, and that'll be interesting too. Play some more pro cards.
Justice is mine.
Oops, shouldn't have done that. Didn't pay attention to what my cards actually do. I also need to remember to put this deck back in. Now, I guess the question will become, will my Hearthstone deck tracker, which has also been updated a couple times recently, will it be capable of recognizing when I copy and paste the same deck back into the game? I imagine it would be. I imagine everything's going to work quite well there. And we'll still have the statistics, and we'll still have this. I'm still using the old artistic style on Hearthstone Deck Tracker. I don't like the new style that makes the gems square. It might be easier to read, certainly, but I just don't like it. I don't find it visually appealing. I suppose that's something that people might give me some feedback on as I have a growing audience. There's definitely some weirdness with the potential of, like, I'm over 150 subscribers now. I would need to be over 500 for YouTube to put me up another tier, and whether they care about you or not. But with the potential of 50, interesting, of a hugely growing new audience, I could turn out to be pretty pliable and have a lot of people asking for a lot of things. And if they're consistent on what they're asking for, that would be interesting. Certainly. For example, if I got 10,000 subscribers tomorrow and they all said they wanted me to play Counter-Strike Go, it's really, really hard to ignore that or not play Counter-Strike Go at that point.
Can escape my fury.
Of course, at the end of the day, I'm gonna probably just come back and say, alright, I played this game, you've seen it, and I didn't enjoy it, or I don't want to play it anymore, so I've done as you asked, but I'm not gonna guarantee that I'm gonna play it forever. And frankly, if I got 10,000 subscribers and they all demanded me to play some game I didn't want to play, and I tried to play it, or just straight out said I don't want to play it, and they all left, that's just not the audience for me. Like, there's only so far as I'm willing to bend before I feel like I'm just compromising what I am at my core. At the core of it, it has to be a game that I want to at least give a try to. That's part of the reason why I don't want to just be a Minecraft gamer, even though I do enjoy Minecraft on the rare occasion. In fact, I may even play a little bit of Minecraft in the stream, if there's enough time during E3. It wouldn't be beyond the realm. I'll make sure I have something set up. I need a new server anyways, but yeah, I don't think I'd do too much into Minecraft.
This is our town, scrub.
Yeah, beat it.
I'm back. Hello, Walter. Mahmood, I think Walter's already gone. He went to eat, and I've only got a little bit left on the stream too. But welcome back anyways.
You're not that sharp.
It'll be nice to have more people to chat with. Not that I don't enjoy a small cozy conversation. It would be nice if more people were online and talking to each other. But I don't see a lot of that in Twitch streams or YouTube streams anyways. It seems like very rarely are there conversations going back and forth between people. And instead it seems more often than not they're just being nasty to each other. Which is not something I want. That's why it's the first rule on the chat now, is to be nice. Of course, if people do get in arguments, that is more comments, but I'm not going to encourage that. Let's see, which one do we want to do? This, and this.
Justice is mine.
And then return. I think at one time my Hearthstone streams were an hour long. But that certainly changed. We need 6 more, so 3 can be done here. There.
A little cup.
There.
Justice
There.
is mine.
End the turn. I wish there was also a way for chat to continue going. It's very weird the way they have it set up. It's designed so I don't know if I can survive this.
A little cut. Victory for Sylvanus.
It just disappears and it doesn't become chat on the video or the live stream, which makes no sense. Let's see. I can toggle timestamps and that's about it. Yeah. So if there's a reason or a rhyme to getting the chat actually to stay with the videos, I don't know how to do it, and that sucks. So I guess that makes the chat showing up here all the more important. A lot of people don't even bother to do that. So Twitch has a lot better integration, and YouTube is eventually going to have this kind of integration, so that you can
justice is mine.
So that you could have it pop up when somebody subscribes, so you could have it do a pop up and a fade in and a fade out when somebody chats. But right now, as far as I know, as far as I can figure out, the only way to get YouTube chat on the screen is to do something like I'm doing, and I just had to figure this out directly.
You're not that sharp.
See, I don't think I'm gonna finish the quest. So let's just keep going, I guess. I don't feel like there's even a reason to stop. See, and what's funny is I keep thinking that Walter might be getting back on, but I bet it's not. I bet it's somebody else. See, and I only have 14 more of these cards to play, so we'll just do a running count. 14 more rogue cards. I've got the Witcher 3 airing and streaming, downloading again, just to make sure my content when I'm streaming, it doesn't affect my upload, and it doesn't seem like it really does. So I think I am going to be able to pull off an E3 stream without any technical hitches, hopefully. Hopefully. I suppose that's kind of all I can say to that, isn't it? Mahmood says, is that the last quest? Yep, that's the last quest for me. Is I just need to play 14 more cards now, 13 more cards that are rogue cards. Now is actually the perfect time to go with a shorter experience, though, because what this means is I have a great opportunity to save up my energy for the E3 stream, and the E3 streams are going to be potentially 3 days for potentially maybe 9 hours a day. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm just guessing. If there's three 3-hour streams in one day, then that could be 9 hours. And if there's another 2 or 3 the next day, then that's another 6 hours. And if there's another 2 or 3 the next day, that's another 6 hours. You're talking nearly 25 hours. Can't do the math and play Hearthstone at the same time. Possibly can't do the math at all.
Victory for Sylvanas.
Let's just play that.
Job done.
So that would be even more work than the expansions, which are kind of 8 hours of footage over 2 days. So 2 8-hour sections, I would say.
Feed the fish, landlubber.
Come on, give me a weapon. How come I can't? Wow, a little bit of an internet. There is a slight danger in buying to be able to afford 4 monitors, 4 TVs. I'm planning on buying refurbished TVs, so I'm gonna buy 4 of the exact same model of TVs that have been already returned for repair or some other reason to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer fixed them. But they don't have to be the biggest quality either. All they have to do is register as 1080p resolution to my video card and actually show something that's slightly visible. If they turn out that they're very dim and they're not that great quality, it doesn't really matter. They're about $100 each, so it's not a big deal.
Welcome to the exhibit.
And as much as I would like to get them quickly, it also very well may become a issue of it's something I plan to have completely set up for E3 next year.
Justice is mine.
Like, I may take a middle of the road path and just keep the one that I'm borrowing right now for a year, and then or longer, and then be able to do what I'm doing now, just not be able to do more, which is to have more things to switch between. All of these things, by the way, not helpful in the main element of my channel, when I'm just doing pre-recorded footage of video games. But maybe we could cover some other things. I guess that's a good question to think about. What are the other conferences that have any kind of live streams or anything like that? There aren't a ton of them that are actual press conferences and it would be actual fair. I don't think I have as solid of a fair use claim. If I was to, for instance, watch the Giant Bombcast and talk over that, or something along that line, because while they are news reporting and I could be news reporting on their news reporting, it would just seem odd, and I really wouldn't have that much to say. They barely even have a week's worth of news for their weekly shows, not just the Bombcast, but almost all the video game weekly shows. I think I've got this. I think this should be our last game. So I would want pure press conferences. I'd want companies like Sega to come out and talk for an hour, and then for me to be able to talk over that for an hour. But that doesn't happen that much. So now, with the new copy and paste thing, I can just delete this deck, and I don't even think I need to go back and copy it from the text file. I think I can just click this. No, it didn't detect it. So it did. Oddly, the game took it out of the clipboard. So you have to come over here and copy it from a notepad. And now that you've copied it, it is clearly spying on your clipboard as long as this thing is open, though. So don't put any nuclear launch codes or any secrets in your clipboard while playing Hearthstone. But my mech deck is back, and that means now anytime I get a quest that requires me to play a bunch of cards I don't have, or I just want to get things done faster, we can do it. So everything is really, really improved. Let's see if anything else changed in the updates. Well, these adventures are certainly going away. But it looks like everything is pretty much the same. Is there anything in these card backs? Are there special things you can craft? As far as card backs, no. I wish you could use dust to get these card backs. No, so nothing there. Wish you could use dust to unlock these characters. Yep, so it doesn't look like anything else changed, but the things that did change are very helpful. I think going forward, getting daily quests done will be a lot less frustrating, and I find that will work very nicely for me. That's going to be it for this recording and stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.